What is up, guys? My name is Pocketcraft and welcome back to the Minecraft Pocket Edition Survival Guide. So I've been thinking and looking around my world and I've realized I've done a lot of things industrial, right? I've done a lot of things with purpose, like farms and things. However, I really haven't spent the time to make anything look good, but I really have a lot of like buildings around here. And even looking at my little stable over there, it's a little rough. That is definitely not my best work. It's a little bit shoddy. And so I want to try and start building better and making more buildings to make this world actually come alive instead of just seeming like a bunch of blocks thrown together to get me items. And so today I am going to build a bamboo farm. It's a really simple farm, which is one of the reasons I chose it. So I'll show you guys how to do it really quickly. It's really similar to my sugarcane farm if you haven't seen that. But then after we build a bamboo farm, we're going to start and try and see if we can make it look a little bit nicer, make it look like a nice little building up here on the hill, and we can start making more of those things like that around here. Plus, you might be wondering why I'm building a farm over here and not in the industrial district. If I'm being honest, the industrial district is starting to get a little bit laggy because there's so many farms over there. So I'm going to spread some out a little bit just so I don't clog everything up over there. But without further ado, let's get started on the farm over here. And I think it shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's a fairly simple farm. I'm going to do about 8 rows of bamboo. Bamboo grows really fast, and so I probably don't even need this much. This will get us plenty. But I'm going to use bamboo, 1, to get as a fuel source, and then 2, you can use it for scaffolding, all sorts of cool things. You can make it into sticks and trade it. And so we'll do that really quickly. I think we'll probably just have 1 line in here. And we'll just do 2 rows like this, do it of 8 blocks, and I'll put all the materials that I'm using for this part in the description below. I probably won't do it for the actual like build part, but for the farm, in case any of you guys want to make this farm, I will put the materials down in the description. And so I think the best thing here is put a wall of 2 high glass all around like that, just so we can start off and kind of have things a little bit more organized. And I realized I forgot bamboo, so I'm going to run back to my base and get that really quickly. So the bamboo will be right behind the glass, and so we'll put a block like this all the way across. Any random building block will work. You can use whatever you'd like. And we'll do that on both sides. Once we fill in this row with building blocks, we're going to put pistons facing this way all the way down. And like I said, you're probably going to be very familiar with this farm. It's just like the sugarcane farm, except we're not going to be using any water because bamboo does not need water to grow, which is super nice. Oops, and we put that in the wrong spot. We'll finish that off just like that. And then what you need to do is you're probably going to want to grab your temporary block again because you'll have to build up a little bit here just so you can get the right angle. You're going to want to get observers all the way across facing this way. Let's see if I can get them all without having to move. Awesome. And then go and do the same exact thing on the other side. All right, the next thing you want to do is put a block behind the pistons like this. And now we're going to make things look a little bit pretty later. But right now you just put the blocks right there and then put a dot of redstone dust on top of each of them. Then you're going to have to go over and do the same thing on the other side. And so we'll come over here. And we probably could just do it on the ground, but I'd prefer this so then I don't have to build down like that. But we'll take care of all the things. This part probably won't be showing in our final design anyways, and so I'm fine with it looking a little bit iffy. But we'll fill this up with redstone dust, and so now this part of the mechanism works. Next thing, we might as well put the bamboo in, and so put 1 piece of bamboo in every block. Bamboo grows a little bit interestingly. You might even be able to put more than 1 in each block, but I would start with just 1 to prevent lag and other things, but it's totally up to you. You might be able to make it work out. I'm just being careful with stuff like that in my world right now, just because I'm already having some lag issues, which is a little bit of a bummer because our industrial district really cranks out items. So now that you do that, you're probably going to want to put a block up. We had originally done a 2 high wall, but you're going to make this a 3 high wall of glass. So excuse me for mistaking that there. And then what you want to do is cover the top here, just so we don't have, and you probably don't even need to do this technically, but I think it's just a little bit safer. You want to be careful because items can kind of go flying all over the place sometimes when you break things. And so it's a good idea to put a top on it when you're doing anything like this, just because pistons can be a little crazy. And so the more walls you have, the more likely the items are going to go where you actually want them to. I'm going to go do the same thing on this other side, and then I'll bring you guys back for the next step. For the next step, you're going to want to come over here and just cover up the sides. On the building, I'm probably going to make it so this would be covered up anyways. You might as well just do it right now. And I thought I should mention it just in case some of you are just going to leave the farm like this, which is totally fine. Well, I mean, once it's actually done, it's not done yet, but leave it without a building around it. Totally fine. I do that all the time, but I'm going to try and make mine a little bit prettier because I haven't been very good about that. So the next thing you're going to want to do is we're going to need to build our collection system. And so you're going to have to dig down. And honestly, you probably should have done this before. So that's a little bit my bad there. But I'm going to dig out an area here. It probably needs to be about 3 down and then go under the bamboo on either side. Don't break the block the bamboo's on, obviously, but just go 3 down and break out these blocks right here. So that'd be the glass, that'd be the bamboo. Do that on the same side, on the other side, and then go all the way down, covering the whole area. So I'll dig that out really quick and bring you guys back. So my instructions weren't super clear, so I'll show you guys what the area looks like right now. So you're gonna want it to look just like this, where you're just a block under the bamboo here, and then put some blocks right here as well, because now we're gonna make a little rail system coming around. But first things first, we're gonna wanna set up a collection system here. And so what we'll wanna do is put 1 chest right there, and then grab a hopper, come here, crouch, and click just like that to make sure the hopper is going straight into the chest, like you can see right there. And then we'll want to put a block right there. And then you could stop right here. I'm actually going to add another chest right here, do the same exact thing. It's not necessary at all. You could just do 1, and you could make it other ways so you don't have to use a hopper right here, but I got plenty of iron, and I kind of like the way this design looks anyways. And so you're going to have that right there, and then put a block right there. And now we need to set up a rail system. And so you can do this kind of haphazardly. Excuse me. You could do less powered rails than I'm probably going to do, just because I have plenty. If you're more conservative with power rails, you can try and be careful. Make sure you just barely get enough for it to go all the way around. But I'm not too worried about that. Make sure you crouch when you go over the hopper right here. And you're just going to have to go all the way down. It'll be a little bit awkward moving around with the chest in here, but that's okay. We'll just put some rails through here, and we'll make sure you have plenty. And I'll fill this all the way in, and then I'll bring you guys back. So once you fill in all these rails, go to every block that has a powered rail and dig under it like that. And then put a redstone torch right there, and that should power it. And then go around and do that for every single one. So I'll do that really quickly, and I'll bring you guys back because that'll take a couple seconds. So once you have all of these powered, what you're going to want to do is put just a torch or 2 down here to keep things lit up so no mobs spawn down here, because that would be bad. And then what you want to do is put a minecart with a hopper right here and just tap it, and it'll go around, and that'll pick up everything you need, and then it'll put all of them into here. Now we don't really have any drops yet, so they're not there. Looks like there's one that's glitching out a little bit over there. But now that we have this here, it should be fine and not really have an issue anymore. Not that there was really an issue to begin with, I guess. But then what you want to do is you're just going to cover up this area here. Oops, didn't mean to click on the chest. And so fill it up right here, and then you're going to want a trap door, at least 1. I'm going to use 2 since I got both chests down here, and you'll place them down. That one is in the wrong spot. Place them both right here, so that way I can come by and check the contents of the chest whenever I need to. And this is kind of awkward. I'm going to fix that after, and then just fill in the rest of this with dirt or whatever block you want. And then once you have that done just like that, that's actually the end of the farm. The farm is fully functional now. It'll harvest you all the bamboo you need, and it actually goes pretty quick. So it's pretty sweet like that. However, I'm going to make this into a building, try and make it something that looks a little bit nice up here. I'll do my best. I'm really not the best builder, but I'm going to try. And then I'll have to do a little bit of terraforming on the side here, but I'm going to try for the first time in this channel's history, really, to do a time lapse. Not sure how well it's going to work, and so we'll find out in just a second. I don't know how much I can speed things up with my equipment, but I'm going to try and see, well, I guess because I pretty much just use my phone, so I don't really know why I'm saying equipment. But I'm going to try and see if I can make ourselves a time lapse. And so we'll start into that right now. we are done. And I really like the way it looks. But before we get into any of that stuff, I would really appreciate if you guys could comment down below right now how you felt about the time lapse. If you kind of liked that, or if you prefer the way I usually do it, where I don't do time lapse and I just kind of build a couple things off camera, like build part of it, and then I stop, talk to you guys about it a little bit, and then build some more and show me building some of it. But let me know if you guys like that better, or if you like the time lapse better, because I'm honestly not sure which one I like better, and I still haven't actually edited the time lapse yet, so I'm not sure how good it looks. But please let me know in the comments how you guys feel about it. And yeah, and honestly, I love the way this turned out. I think it looks super, super sweet. But before we talk about the build style, I'm going to talk about a couple of things I did here, things that I learned. But first, I need to correct a mistake that I made earlier, actually. So when I was making the farm at the beginning, I made a mistake that I need to correct to you guys. And so I was making the rest of the building, and I checked back and forth, and I hadn't gotten any bamboo yet, which I was really, really confused about, and I was worried why this wasn't working. But it was working great in the creative test world that I made to compare these two. I made it first in a creative test world to figure everything out. And so I compared the two when I realized this wasn't working, and the only difference there was in the creative test world, I did what you can see right here, where I put, instead of putting the redstone torches under, I put them on a block and then right next to the powered rails. And so I looked back in here and I was trying to figure out why putting them under, oops, didn't mean to click on that, made it not work. And I realized I had redstone torches under right next to the hoppers. And when you put a redstone torch by a hopper, it locks the hopper. And that makes it so the hopper doesn't transfer any items to the chests. And so just make sure when you're doing this, you can still technically put them under the powered rails as long as the powered rails aren't close to the hopper. And so that's just something I would recommend fixing if you did it the way I did it, because that messes up. But it's a super simple fix, so it shouldn't be much of an issue. And now it's working great. I've got over 2 stacks of bamboo, which is awesome. So now I'm going to get myself out of here, which will take a minute, and then we'll talk about the build style. So the game's being a little glitchy, so I'm going to try not to move around too much. But as I told you guys, I've been working on my building skills for a while, trying to figure out how to be better. And I was really struggling with this at first. So I watched a couple of videos on YouTube, and there are a couple of things I decided to try out on this one that I wouldn't normally do. And the first one is texturing. Texturing is this right here, where you use kind of a bunch of different blocks instead of just using 1 or 2 normal blocks really for a wall. And so that's something that I have always really not liked. I think it looks usually really messy and kind of weird. And so I was really, really scared to do it, but I decided to try and go for it. And I just kind of messed around with the type of blocks that I used, just did some gray ones. And honestly, I actually really like the way it looks. I thought I was going to hate it, but I think it looks really, really nice. And now I think a big reason that it looks really nice is because of a couple other things I did. One is depth, right? If you'll notice, there's a couple areas of depth here, just like little things like that. The stairs, the window panes, and then these little shutters. And then up there, there's some depth with the roof. Just little things like that that make it look a little bit more alive. And then another thing that I think adds a lot really is just this foliage, just adding a couple of bushes. And I really like the azalea ones. And now you guys are probably going to laugh, but this is actually, I'm finally in 1.17. And now before you guys freak out, remember this video was actually filmed July 18th is today, 2021. Some of it was filmed yesterday. But so this was filled probably about, this is going to drop probably in like July or August of 2022, I think. I'm not really sure. I'll have to look at the dates later. But so this was made like a year ago when 1.17 just came out about like a week or two ago. And so I do have some of the materials in this world now that I've gone out. I'm still going to have to go and get more of them, but I did get some azalea stuff from some moss blocks, which is awesome. I think they look really cool, so I decided to use some of those in here. And then I really like this design right here with the trap doors and the fence gates. Makes things look a lot more homier. And now the funny thing is this actually looks a little bit more like a home than my actual home over there, but that's okay. I'm going to have to make a new base pretty soon anyways. I have a couple ideas, but there's a couple more fun things I want to put in here. And I should probably do some work on the stable, because that stable looks really bad. I'm sorry about that, guys. I was struggling there. But I'm going to start trying to make some buildings look better. I'll have to try some new strategies, and so I hopefully don't make every building look like this, but I really do like this. Comment down below how you guys feel about it. If you like the texturing especially, that's something I'm not too sure about. Let me know if you guys like this stuff or not, and I would really appreciate it. But I think that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button to show it to the YouTube algorithm. But I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in that next video.